Hello everyone, my name is Roza, and in today's video I am doing a monochromatic study in watercolor. There is no particular reason why I chose the color blue, it's just one of my favorite colors, so that's why it's just a monochromatic blue watercolor study. The reason why I did this was because it was a technique that was taught to me in one of my art classes. You essentially look at your overall sketch or idea of what you want the work to be, and then you choose a color underneath it. For example, if you want to work on a painting that is mostly warm tone, you will choose like a red or an orange undercolor and then put it at the bottom. This is just so that the white of your canvas doesn't blind your eyes, sort of, and so you're able to choose more appropriate colors for your overall painting. And since this is just a blue watercolor study, I just did a very light blue first coat on all over the drawing. So the design for the sketch was just very random, and I think it's just something very basic. I just chose the night sky and the person watching the sky, the moon and the stars. And because I didn't want to leave a bunch of blank space behind the character, I decided to draw some foliage at the back. They're mainly just like some trees and some bushes at the back, just so that there's more texture contrasting the night sky. I also did a brick wall at the bottom so that it wouldn't be too repetitive or too flat at the bottom. And then the stone wall was a little bit difficult to make because I wanted it to be obvious that it was a brick wall, so I had to go over with a plain color first and then wait for that to dry and then add little details of the individual bricks themselves. One of the reasons why I struggled with this watercolor study is because it has been a while since I have used watercolor, so I have lost practice. And one of the difficult things for me is usually waiting for the watercolor underneath to dry. So there's some times where you will see me add a light color first and then immediately try to go over it with a darker color. And then you'll see the watercolor trying to spread because it's obviously the first coat underneath isn't dry, so it's gonna move in the same direction the underneath layer was. And so I was having to quickly uh, essentially dab away that first part I did. So uh, I was really struggling with this. Another reason why I was struggling with it is because I didn't want the artwork to end up too dark. So as you can see, the sky and the foliage kind of blend together because they're almost the same shade of blue. Later on, I will go back and darken the sky a bit, but I still wished I would have darkened it a bit more simply because the character's hair color was already kind of dark. And I wanted the character to stand out a bit. So I was really struggling. It's essentially deciding how intense I wanted the blue color in each part of the photo. In each part of the drawing. So this video is also really late. This video was meant to be posted at the beginning of the month, but it didn't happen because there's just some changes going on around me and I was busy with other things. So this video I finished recording in the beginning of the month, like the first week. I just never got around to doing the audio and the rest of the editing until now. So hopefully this will be out before the end of the month. As for my 2 videos a month goal, I think for my next video, I am just going to do a quick tour of I guess my art space right now. I think it'll be really interesting for you guys to see, especially because I am just starting this YouTube channel. So most of the equipment, quote unquote equipment, I have is not really anything brand new or state of the art or anything. So I feel like it'll be interesting for you guys to see what I'm working with. And maybe you guys will get inspired to start an art channel despite what low budget items you may have at home. I do want to say now that I don't like the final result of this. There were many things I wish I could have changed, and I don't know, I just feel like the end result just wasn't what I wanted it to be. So I really don't like this drawing I did. This is also something I have always struggled with. Because it had been a while since I used watercolors, I did feel myself struggling using the watercolors. As you'll see throughout the video, I'll go over the same area multiple times because I feel like I was hesitating in darkening some areas. For example, the sky, it did not turn out as dark as I wanted to, but later on I couldn't darken it anymore because I had already added a lot of water, and my paper, although it is watercolor paper, it did start to peel. I was essentially just using a lot of water and not really adding a lot of pigment, so the paper was just giving away, and I had to stop working on the sky. So as you can see towards the end, I started using an ink pen liner. The reason for this is because I didn't think I could get the facial expression on the character done with watercolor, so I decided to use an ink pen for that. But I also didn't want the face to be the only place where there was like visible ink on there. So I decided to line almost the entire artwork. I didn't use a continuous line, I used like breaking lines, like they're not all interconnected, there's like space between each line. And the reason I did this was so that you can tell it's watercolor and then the ink is just on top. I also wanted to add stars in the sky because it looked pretty plain and boring with just a watercolor. So I used my Sakura jelly roll in white just to draw stars as well as highlights in the eyes of the character and the cat. Overall, it turned out okay. However, this isn't my favorite artwork simply because I struggled so much with it and I feel like there was a lot of stuff I could have improved. But yeah, overall, this is just I'm just feeling complicated about this artwork. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys around. Bye!